Welcome back to these videos where we answer why questions. Today's question is, why do Americans celebrate Christmas? And so I'll explain a lot about the history of Christmas Day, so it might be a longer video than usual. Sorry. But why do we celebrate Christmas? There's two areas that we have to focus on is secular and religious. So secular means um, not religious. So secular holidays, for example, an example would be like in America, when Easter parade, we have the Easter bunny everywhere. When I lived in Spain during college, they didn't have the Easter bunny. They had actual real monks. So the from the Catholic monks that were doing the parade, and they had a real Jesus statue, and it was very different. So Jesus statue is on the cross during the parade is of course very religious parade, but in America we'd be very secular with the Easter bunny and the Easter eggs. The Americans tend to be more secular than religious. But let's explain both as quick as I can. So the religious side, of course, it comes from there used to be a winter festival, and when Catholics started growing in Roman times in Italy, they decided let's merge some of these festivals we've already had for a long time from pagan times. Pagan is where you worship like the river has a god or the tree has a god. So from pagan times, they had this winter festival. They wanted to combine it with these religious festivals. So they thought, oh, well, how about Jesus' birthday? By the way, that's one of the questions I ask in my trivia game during Christmas party time is, of course, when was Jesus born? When is his birthday? And most people say December 25th. No one knows, according to the Bible, their just best guess is it's in the winter season because winter festival, they wanted to combine those two. But that's why they put it there. So that's why we do that. And also, the reason we do presents is the wise men visited him. So, of course, well, the angels, of course, told the angels told the shepherds and other people in the wise men, it spread around that, hey, Jesus is born over there. So the angels told the shepherds, hey, go visit Jesus. He's just born. So, which they did. And that's why we can put an angel on top of the tree. So some of this religion connects to our secular events. That's why an angel is possible on top of the tree as a tree topper. Also, the wise men visited, three wise men. They brought presents for, that's why we have Christmas presents. They brought presents for Jesus when he was born. Gold, frankincense is like a perfume or cosmetics, and myrrh, which I think is like a chemical used for clothing. So gold, frankincense, and myrrh, they brought three presents. But how did they find him? They followed the North Star, the brightest star in the sky, which you can still see today. They followed that North Star, and under the North Star, they didn't have GPS that time. They found him. Oh, there's Jesus, and they brought him those three presents. And this is interesting for trivia that, by the way, he didn't get presents when he was born. Of course, because they have to follow a star and find him. So he got presents when he was 12 days old. That's why in some cultures, I think in Mexico, for example, they celebrate present giving on January the 6th, which will be December 25 plus 12 days. So when actually Jesus is 12 days old, that's when they celebrate the gift giving season. So that's the religious part. And then the secular part, of course, like I said earlier, that's what we can have for Christmas tree toppers. You have an angel who told the shepherds about where Jesus is, or a star, which is following the North Star. We can put, and we also decorate. The first tree, I think the first real tree was in Latvia in around 1550, so almost 500 years ago. The first fake tree, I was surprised by this, that was in Germany, right? Yes, in Germany in 1747, so about 300 years ago. So what, 275 years ago about? So it's quite old, the first fake tree. By the way, if you ask which is more popular in America, according to statistics I saw 3, 4 years ago, that 55% have fake trees, the ones from Germany from 300 years ago, and 45% have real trees. So my friend Andrew would always have a real tree. He'd cut it down and he would grow it, but I always had fake trees. Speaking of that, Christmas lights, like we have here, the Christmas lights, the secular tradition, this is very interesting. Where does this culture come from? Because Edison, of course, everybody knows Edison helped create the light bulb. He didn't invent the light bulb, but he helped create it and he helped popularize it, I guess. He became most popular for making light bulbs popular. But most people didn't want a light bulb in their house. They had uh, gas lamps and they had different lamps. So they're like, what? Why do we need this electric light? And the electricity wasn't great at the time yet. So he thought of, how about Christmas lights? So one of his employees said, hey, we could make these lights on a Christmas tree. Actually, the Christmas lights were very old, like 1887. I think within 15, around 15 to 20 years after he invented the light bulb, after they created the light bulb, they of course used on the Christmas tree to popularize it everywhere. So if you see the light on the Christmas tree, maybe you might want a light in your house. It's a very interesting culture. So of course, and let's see what else. So there, of course, you can see in these pictures, stockings are hung by the chimney with care in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. But of course, the famous poem, "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." In that poem, we learned many things about Santa. We learned he's human size, not elf size. By the way, the story of Santa, so the secular story of Santa is from Finland. So most of my students in Japan will say, he's from Finland. He's not. The story is from Finland. There's a monk named St. Nicholas in Finland that would, the stockings were hung by the fire and drying out during the winter. He would throw coins in the window, and if they landed in the stocking, you had a lucky year. So of course, but that's the story of where Santa came from. But Santa, the character, actually lives in the North Pole. Yes, so he's in the North Pole, living with the reindeer and the polar bears, a very cold place. His wife, Mrs. Claus, they wear the green hat, the elves, and she is the boss of all the elves. They're the ones who make all the toys that Santa can deliver every year, of course. And so let's see, stockings we did. Also, so 'Twas the Night Before Christmas also explained that Santa had 8 reindeer. Until then, we thought he had only 2 reindeer. But the poem explains he has 8, and their names are Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, Blitzen. Yeah, so Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, Blitzen. If you're an American child like I was, you maybe 3rd grade or so, you have to memorize these. So they're stuck in my head forever. You have to memorize the order of the reindeer's names, which comes from that poem. Again, was the night before Christmas. So it told us a lot about Santa. It told us how tall he was. It told us that he was fatter than we thought. Until then, he was a skinny monk size. And it told us he had 8 reindeer. It told us he had a white long beard and red nose, for example, things like that. But one thing it didn't tell us was the color. If you follow that poem, actually, he should be black or gray. But we found out in the 1930s from Coca-Cola advertisements. So Coca-Cola, they wanted to advertise more. So they thought, red and white, let's make Santa red and white for our commercials, for TV commercials. Well, TV were new then, maybe magazine and newspaper commercials in the 1930s. So, and then later on, radio commercials, but you can't see on the radio, but they talked about it. And of course, later on, TV ads from that advertisements. Later, everybody around the world started putting Santa in red and white clothes, actually matching the colors of Coca-Cola. So let's see. So that's the only thing not in the poem. Then, of course, he visits you on Christmas Eve night and he brings presents. Oh, that's a great question. Is how does he know what children want? There's 2 ways he finds out. Either one, like when I grew up, you have to write him a letter to the North Pole, and you write him a letter, he'll get that letter, and he'll realize, oh, okay, Kent wants like this. I got it. Or another way is you visit the malls. The mall Santas are his representatives, so they can spread the message to him what you want. So that's when you go to the mall and take a picture with the mall Santa, he'll ask you, what do you want for Christmas? And you'll be like, oh, I want a new Nintendo. I want a new bicycle, like my friend has. Oh, I want a skateboard. So you go, okay, Robert, skateboard, I got it. Okay. And then he'll spread that message on, he'll send that message on to the real Santa, who will find what you want and deliver it for you on Christmas Day. The more you know. Yes, I think if you have any more questions, so I tried to do as quick as I could. It's still longer than usual, but as quick as I could to explain the secular and the religious holidays. They are different, but kind of combined in America. So you can enjoy them both. So you can even be non-religious and still celebrate Christmas. I think 95% of Americans decorate a Christmas tree. But if you look, there's not 95% of Americans are not Christians. So it's interesting. So a lot of people decorate trees and decorate for Christmas, even they're not religious. Okay, thanks again for watching. And if you have any questions, for example, about Christmas or Santa or the religious part of the holidays, or if you have any comments, or if you want to teach us about how about in your neck of the woods, your area of the world, how do you celebrate Christmas? Thanks again, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's. See you in the new year. See you.